In Tokyo, the dysfunctional Suzuki family lives in a suburban apartment complex. The wife Mitsu is talking to her father Sasaki, who has sent the family a box of fresh vegetables and fish. He wishes they would visit him more often. When Mitsu tries to make her daughter Yui talk to her grandfather, she refuses to do so and complains about the fish smell. After the call, Mitsu tries to prepare the fish but she finds it too disgusting. Her husband Yoshiyuki doesn't want to touch it either, so the fish ends up in the freezer. When they see a bug on the vegetables, they freak out so much that they don't even notice that it's actually Yui's fake eyelashes. Yoshiyuki ignores everything and keeps asking for food while Yui only has eyes for her phone, so it's up to Mitsu to throw the bug away. Eventually the son Kenji arrives but doesn't greet anyone. He never takes off his headphones, and when Mitsu asks him if he wants dinner, he just shows her the fast food he bought and goes to his room without saying a single word. In their rooms, the siblings only spend time on their screens. Mitsu is worried about the smartphone bills and asks Yoshiyuki to talk to his kids about it, but he only pays attention to the TV. The next morning, Yoshiyuki oversleeps because his alarm clock hasn't rung. He checks it to discover that the hands are stuck at 3. Mitsu informs him there's a blackout while throwing away the fish. Soon Yui wakes up too and freaks out because her phone is out of battery. Mitsu wants to make breakfast but can't because the rice cooker and the electromagnetic stove aren't working. She manages to turn on a gas burner, however the family refuses to wait and leaves without eating. Unfortunately the elevator isn't working either, so all the residents have to go down several flights of stairs. At the station, the trains aren't working either and nobody knows when they'll resume, so Yoshiyuki has to walk to the office. Meanwhile Kenji is going to class on his bicycle and notices that his phone has quickly run out of battery. In fact, the only thing moving on the streets is bicycles because cars have stopped working as well. A taxi driver tries to restart his engine with some water to no avail. Outside her building, Mitsu talks to the neighbors and they confirm nobody has power. The ladies decide to go shopping for candles and Mitsu wants to come along, only to realize she left her wallet in the apartment. When Yoshiyuki arrives at his company, everyone is outside because the doors have electric locks that won't open. 2 men decide to break the glass so everyone can come in. Employees have to take the stairs to their offices, but they realize they can't work because there are no lights and no computers. At school, Yui discovers all her classmates are arriving late and nobody has a working phone. Some teachers can't even come to work, so many classes are sent to the study hall. At college, Kenji is going through the same situation. At the grocery store, Mitsu discovers that the pre-made food shelves are already empty. People are buying things like candles and water in great quantities, so she does the same. The store employees announce that they can't take credit cards because of the blackout, so clients can only pay in cash. Everyone rushes to the nearest ATM, however these aren't working either. After a few hours of waiting and doing nothing, Yoshiyuki's boss sends everyone home early. Refusing to walk again, Yoshiyuki decides to buy a bicycle. Unfortunately prices have gone up to the extreme because everyone is desperate for one, so Yoshiyuki has no choice but to pay extra. When he arrives at his building, he finds an old lady resting on the stairs because climbing so many steps is too much for her. Later while the family has dinner by candlelight, Yoshiyuki insists on working with pen and paper. Anytime they use the toilet, they have to flush it by throwing water from the bathtub. There's no water in the kitchen sink so Mitsu can't do the dishes. Meanwhile Yui tries to read a magazine by candlelight and comes so close to the flame that she burns her hair. Tired of doing nothing in their rooms, the siblings come out and Mitsu invites the whole family to the balcony. Since there isn't a single city light, there's a wonderful view of the stars. 2 days later, power still hasn't come back. Mitsu is washing clothes by hand using water from the tub. At school, Yui only finds a handful of students, so she decides to leave. At the office, the boss announces that the company will be closed until power is restored. Then Yoshiyuki watches his boss leave with his family for the mountains, hoping to find water and food there. When he turns around, he discovers a guy trying to steal his bicycle and quickly scares him away. In the meantime, Kenji rides his bicycle to the next town, only to discover that power is down here too. He's looking for the girl he likes, but when he sees her come out, he panics and hides. His bicycle falls and hurts his foot while he watches the girl leave town with her family. At the water treatment plant, Mitsu and other neighbors wait for hours to fill their bottles. However, the employees inform them that they've shut down the building because the pumps aren't working. There's water underground but since it's not treated it can be dangerous to drink it, so they refuse to gather it by hand. The crowd protests at the lack of help. At the bank, Yoshiyuki hears bankers explain that ATMs and debit cards aren't working, so the only way to get cash is by presenting an ID and the bank passbook. Each person is only allowed to withdraw the equivalent of $600. People freak out and start pushing each other as they try to get in first. They cause Yoshiyuki to drop all his paperwork and when he tries to pick it up, they end up hurting him. He has to escape to take care of his bleeding nose. On the 7th day of the blackout, grocery stores are empty and schools are closed. Some people have traveled to neighboring towns in search of food and water only to find the same situation. More and more citizens are leaving Tokyo by the hour, hoping to find a solution in the countryside. After a pointless meeting with their neighbors, Yoshiyuki and Mitsu check on an old lady in their building whom they haven't seen in a while. It turns out she's died and her family has come to retrieve the body. After this shock, the couple decides it's time to leave the city too, so they inform the kids that they'll travel to stay with their grandfather. When Yui protests because she finds little villages boring, Mitsu points out that she used to like playing on the village's beach when she was a child, but Yui doesn't remember this. Afterward, the family starts packing and a frustrated Kenji throws away the picture of the girl he likes. Everyone puts any cash they can find on the table and Mitsu reveals she's got a decent amount of money she's been saving for emergencies. On their way out, the family hears the barking of an abandoned dog, but they ignore it. The siblings have bicycles, but Mitsu has to share with Yoshiyuki. They start making their way to the airport and notice lots of residents leaving on foot. There are also many people selling food and water, but Yoshiyuki refuses to pay for their crazy prices. Unfortunately, the further they go, the higher the prices are. Eventually they stop at a store and Mitsu manages to negotiate with the clerk to get a good price for a big order. This is a good moment for them to rest and eat something. The siblings watch a man getting an impressive number of fish from the river, yet they find it disgusting. When they try to go to the public bathroom, the smell is unbearable because the toilets haven't been flushed for days. They have no choice but to do it behind the bushes. When the family finally makes it to the airport, there's a desperate crowd gathering outside. The planes aren't working either, and the cops try to put up a barrier to keep people away. Half of the crowd gets angry and attacks the officers while the other half walks away. In the evening, the family decides to stay at the closest motel and has to pay too much for the room. Yoshiyuki announces they'll travel to the village by bicycle and Yui spends several minutes complaining about it. The next morning the siblings break into a library to get a map, but all of them are gone except for one for kids. Kenji does some calculations and concludes it'll take them a month to reach the village by bicycle. Meanwhile, Yoshiyuki and Mitsu are looking for a bicycle for her and find one outside a rice store. The clerk isn't taking cash or expensive objects, she only exchanges rice for water or other food. The couple convinces her to give them the bicycle and a bag of rice in exchange for some bottles of alcohol. When the family finally leaves, they keep encountering closed roads, and Yoshiyuki concludes that the kitty map is useless. Then they decide to take the expressway, since nobody is asking for money at the booths. On the highway, they discover hundreds of people leaving the city. Sometime later they stop to rest at a mall, but the doors are locked so they have to camp outside. When a desperate couple asks them if they have water to share, Mitsu hides their bottles and Yoshiyuki tells them they don't have any left. That night, the family has trouble sleeping because it's very cold. Kenji discovers a guy stealing their water and immediately runs after him, following him into a tunnel. When he's about to attack, he notices that the robber has a baby, so he lets him have the water. The next day the family gets ready to cross that tunnel and finds a group of blind ladies at the entrance. They offer to guide people if they're paid properly. Since the tunnel is a simple straight road, the family ignores them and moves ahead. However, the darkness soon gets them in trouble. They keep bumping into abandoned cars and stepping on nasty stuff like a dead raccoon. They end up going back and paying a blind lady, who easily guides them through the tunnel until they reach the exit. On the 16th day of the blackout, the family rests near the river and takes the chance to wash some clothes. They're almost out of matches and there's no water left. Yoshiyuki decides to drink from the river, ignoring his family's warnings. In the afternoon, a heavy rainstorm hits the area, so the family is forced to take shelter under a bridge. While they watch their bicycles and things being blown by the wind, Yoshiyuki suddenly runs to the middle of the field.